The morning sun peeked through the blinds as Andra and Amara Jackson finished unpacking the last of their bedroom boxes. The 17-year-old twins had been in Oak Ridge for less than a week, but already they sensed this place was nothing like their old neighborhood in the city. "You think we'll fit in here?" Andra asked, tossing a rolled-up poster to his sister. His voice held that familiar mix of hope and doubt that had been present since their dad announced the move. Amara caught the poster, a signed image of their favorite martial arts champion, and carefully unrolled it. "Maybe," she said, glancing out the window at the rows of perfect houses with perfect lawns. "But this place feels like we landed on another planet." Their father had accepted a teaching job at Oak Ridge University. "A chance too good to pass up," he'd said. The twins understood this, but leaving behind their friends and their comfort zone still stung. "At least we found a good dojang," Andra said, referring to the taekwondo studio they'd discovered just yesterday. Both twins had trained since they were 5 years old, earning their black belts 3 years ago. The familiar smell of the training mats had been the first thing that felt like home since they'd arrived. "Yeah, Master Chen seemed cool," Amara agreed, "said we could pick up right where we left off." Their mother's voice called from downstairs, interrupting their conversation. "First day of school. Breakfast is ready." Andra groaned dramatically, falling back onto his bed. "Here we go." Oak Ridge High School stood like a fortress, all brick and gleaming windows. As the twins walked through the main entrance, the bustling hallway seemed to quiet for just a moment. Eyes turned their way, some curious, some friendly, others cold. "Just breathe," Amara whispered to her brother, though she was also reminding herself. Their parents had prepared them for this, being often the only black faces in predominantly white spaces. The morning passed in a blur of new teachers, unfamiliar classrooms, and the constant feeling of being watched. In their old school, the twins had been known for more than their appearance. Andra for his quick wit and skill on the debate team, Amara for her artistic talents and leadership in student government. Here, they were reduced to newcomers, outsiders, something different. During lunch, they found a table near the window. A few friendly students stopped by to introduce themselves, but most kept their distance, stealing glances when they thought the twins wouldn't notice. "I think it's going okay," Andra said between bites of his sandwich. "That girl from history class seemed nice." Amara nodded, but her attention was caught by a group of students across the cafeteria. They were watching the twins while laughing among themselves. One boy in particular, tall with expensive clothes and a confident smirk, seemed to be the center of the group. When he caught Amara looking, he didn't look away. Instead, his smirk grew wider. "Don't mind them," came a voice beside them. A girl with glasses and a kind smile placed her tray on their table. "I'm Lily. Those guys are just the local rich kids who think they own the school. That's Tyler in the middle. His dad owns half the businesses in town." "I'm Andra, and this is my sister Amara," Andra replied, grateful for the friendly face. The rest of the day went smoother with Lily showing them around. But as they walked home that afternoon, the twins noticed a car slowing down beside them. Tyler and his friends were inside, music blaring. "Hey, new kids," Tyler called out. "Where are you from? You lost for something?" "This is Oak Ridge, not the hood." His friends laughed as the car sped up and drove away. Andra's fists clenched at his sides. Years of taekwondo training had taught him discipline, but also how to fight if necessary. Amara placed a hand on his arm. "Not worth it," she said quietly. "Mom and Dad told us this might happen. Remember what Master Kim used to say?" Andra nodded, taking a deep breath. Their old instructor had always emphasized that their skills were for protection, never for showing off or seeking revenge. "I know," he sighed. "It's just, I thought things would be different here." As they continued walking, neither twin said what they were both thinking, that this was just the beginning, and that Tyler and his friends had no idea who they were really messing with. Not that they wanted trouble, but if trouble came looking for them, they were more than prepared to handle it. 3 weeks into the school year, and Oak Ridge High had settled into a routine for Andra and Amara, a routine that was becoming more uncomfortable by the day. "Just ignore him," Amara whispered as Tyler brushed past Andra in the hallway, knocking his books to the floor for the 3rd time that week. "Oops," Tyler said with a fake smile. "Didn't see you there." His friends snickered behind him. Andra took a deep breath and bent down to gather his scattered papers. A small crowd had formed, watching to see how the new kid would react. He could feel his heart beating faster, the familiar warmth of anger rising in his chest. But he remembered his father's words, "You two have power most people don't understand. That means you have a greater responsibility to use it wisely." Lily appeared at his side, helping him collect his things. "They're just trying to get a rise out of you," she said quietly. "Yeah, I know." Andra stood up, meeting Tyler's disappointed gaze with calm eyes. Tyler had been expecting, maybe even hoping for, a fight. When Andra simply walked away, the crowd slowly broke apart and Tyler's smirk faltered. Later that day, Amara sat in art class, focused on her painting. She had found some peace in this class, away from the stares and whispers. Her teacher, Ms. Rivera, had praised her work and even suggested she enter the upcoming district art competition. "That's really good," a voice said beside her. Amara looked up to see Zoe, one of Tyler's friends. Unlike the others, Zoe seemed less interested in the group's bullying tactics. "Thanks," Amara replied cautiously. "You know, Tyler's having a party this weekend. His parents are out of town." Zoe tucked her hair behind her ear. "You should come. You and your brother." Amara's brush paused mid-stroke. "Why would he want us there?" Zoe shrugged. "Maybe he wants to make peace." Something about Zoe's tone made Amara doubt her sincerity, but she just nodded and returned to her painting. That afternoon, as the twins walked home, they spotted Tyler's car following them slowly. This had happened before, but today there were more people inside. "Hey," Tyler called out, his car crawling alongside them. "You guys walk home every day. Don't your kind drive fancy cars bought with drug money?" Andra grabbed Amara's arm, pulling her forward. "Keep walking," he muttered. "What's wrong?" Tyler taunted. "Can't take a joke." His friends laughed, and someone in the back seat shouted a racial slur that made both twins stop in their tracks. The car screeched to a halt. Tyler and 3 others climbed out, blocking the sidewalk ahead. "Actually," Tyler said, his voice dropping lower, "we've been thinking it's time you two learned how things work in Oak Ridge." Andra positioned himself slightly in front of his sister. His mind flashed to their training, to the countless sparring matches and breaking boards with precise strikes. He could take all 4 of them if needed, but that wasn't the way. "We don't want trouble," Andra said evenly. "Too bad," one of Tyler's friends replied. "Trouble found you when you moved here." Tyler stepped forward. "City, this is our town. People like you don't belong here. So consider this your official notice to get out." Amara spoke up, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. "We have every right to be here. Our dad teaches at the university and we're not going anywhere." A crowd had begun to gather, students walking home, watching from a distance. No one stepped in to help. "Let's just go," Andra said, trying to guide his sister around the group. Tyler shoved him hard. "I'm not done talking to you." Andra stumbled back but kept his balance with the ease of someone who had spent years perfecting their stance. The urge to counter was automatic. A simple sweep of the leg would put Tyler on the ground in seconds. But Master Chen's words echoed in his mind. "The true victory is when you can walk away." "We're reporting this," Amara said firmly. "All of it, to the school and the police if necessary." "Go ahead," Tyler laughed. "My dad plays golf with the principal and the police chief. See how far that gets you." As they pushed past the group, Tyler called after them, "This isn't over. Not even close. You'll learn your lesson soon enough." Walking away, the twins exchanged a glance. They hadn't told their parents about the growing harassment, not wanting to worry them. They hadn't told anyone at their new dojang either. But how long could they keep turning the other cheek? "Maybe we should tell someone," Amara suggested. Andra nodded slowly. "Yeah, but something tells me things are going to get worse before they get better." The familiar scent of sweat and floor cleaner filled the air as Andra and Amara entered Master Chen's dojang. After the day they'd had at school, the training hall felt like stepping into another world, one where they understood the rules and were respected for their skills, not judged for their skin color. "You two are early today," Master Chen noted, adjusting the white belt of a young student. At 55, the Korean instructor moved with the grace of someone half his age, his salt and pepper hair the only hint of his years. Thought we'd get some extra practice in, Andrew said, avoiding his sister's knowing look. They hadn't discussed coming early. They'd both just silently headed to the dojang straight after school, skipping their usual stop at the library. After changing into their dobox, the twins began their warm-up routine, moving in perfect sync as they had for years. The repetitive movements cleared their minds, pushing away thoughts of Tyler and his threats. "Your forms are excellent," Master Chen commented, approaching them after dismissing his beginner class. "But your spirits seem troubled." Amara glanced at Andra. They'd agreed not to mention the school problems, but Master Chen had an uncanny ability to read his students. "Just adjusting to the new town," Andra replied with a half shrug. Master Chen studied them both for a moment. "The true purpose of martial arts is not to fight," he said finally. "It is to build a foundation of character so strong that fighting becomes unnecessary." "What if someone doesn't give you a choice?" The question slipped out before Andrew could stop it. Master Chen's eyes sharpened. "Are you facing such a situation?" "Just hypothetically," Amara cut in quickly. Their instructor folded his arms. "In Taekwondo, we learn to harness our power, not to dominate others, but to protect what matters. Sometimes what needs protection is your dignity, your right to exist peacefully." He demonstrated a blocking position. "If someone forces conflict upon you, you have the right to defend yourself. But defense and revenge are very different paths." The twins practiced their advanced forms under Master Chen's watchful eye. When they moved to sparring, other students gathered to watch. The twins' speed and precision were always impressive, especially to newer students. "They're amazing," whispered one yellow belt to another. "I heard they've been training since they were little kids." After class, while other students filtered out, Master Chen called the twins over. "Second-degree black belt testing is next month," he said. "I believe you're both ready." Pride swelled in Andrew's chest. They'd been working toward this goal for over a year. "Thank you, Master Chen." "But," the instructor continued, "the physical test is only part of the challenge. The true test is how you apply these principles in your daily life." He paused, looking at them both. "Whatever troubles you're facing, and I can see there is something, remember that your greatest strength isn't in your fists or feet, but here." He tapped his temple. "And here." He placed a hand over his heart. On the walk home, Amara finally spoke what had been on her mind. "Maybe we should tell him what's happening." Andrew kicked a stone along the sidewalk. "And say what?" "That some rich kid and his friends are being jerks." "What's he going to do about it?" "I don't know. But it feels wrong keeping it secret." She pulled her jacket tighter against the evening chill. "Like we're ashamed or something." "I'm not ashamed," Andrew said quickly. "I just don't want to make a big deal out of it. Mom and Dad have enough to worry about with Dad's new job." They walked in silence for a while, houses growing larger and yards more manicured as they approached their neighborhood. "You know," Amara said finally, "Master Chen talked about protecting what matters. Maybe we need to protect more than just ourselves. What if Tyler starts picking on someone else who can't defend themselves?" Andra hadn't considered that. "So what are you saying? We should use our skills to become some kind of school superheroes?" Despite his sarcastic tone, the idea had a certain appeal. "No," Amara rolled her eyes. "But maybe we shouldn't just keep our heads down and hope it goes away. That's not working anyway." As they turned onto their street, they spotted their father washing his car in the driveway. He waved when he saw them, his smile wide and genuine. "How was training?" he called. Andra and Amara exchanged a look, a silent agreement passing between them. Maybe it was time to talk about what was happening. "It was good," Andrew replied. "Actually, Dad, there's something we want to talk to you about." The school library was quiet except for the occasional turning of pages and the soft clicking of computer keyboards. Andrew checked his watch for the third time in 10 minutes. The study session was running late, and darkness had already fallen outside the windows. "Almost done," Amara whispered, scribbling the last few notes for their history project. After their talk with their parents last weekend, both twins had agreed to focus on schoolwork and avoid trouble. Their father had listened carefully to their concerns about Tyler and his friends, then suggested they report the harassment to the school principal. "The meeting didn't change anything," Andrew muttered, thinking about their disappointing conversation with Principal Wilson earlier that week. The man had nodded sympathetically, but ultimately just said he'd look into it and advised them to try harder to fit in. Lily, working alongside them, closed her textbook. "You guys want a ride home?" "My mom can pick us up." "Thanks, but we're good," Amara said. "It's not that far, and the walk helps clear our heads." As the three friends packed up their bags, the library emptied quickly around them. By the time they pushed through the heavy doors into the cool evening air, the school parking lot was nearly deserted. "Text me when you get home," Lily said, heading toward her mother's waiting car. The twins waved goodbye and started their walk home, breath fogging in the chilly air. The streetlights cast long shadows across the pavement. "You think Mom and Dad were right about just trying to stay out of Tyler's way?" Andrew asked, breaking the silence between them. Amara adjusted her backpack strap. "I don't know. Dad always taught us to stand up for ourselves, but he also said—" The sound of an engine revving cut her off. Headlights swept across them as a familiar SUV pulled into the parking lot exit, blocking their path. Tyler stepped out, followed by 5 of his friends. Their faces looked harder somehow in the harsh glow of the headlights. "Well, look who's out after dark," Tyler called, his voice echoing across the empty lot. "Study session run late." Ando instinctively positioned himself slightly in front of his sister. "We're just heading home, Tyler. We don't want any trouble." "That's funny," one of Tyler's friends said, "because trouble is exactly what we're looking for." He was tall and broad-shouldered, a linebacker on the school football team. The group spread out, forming a loose circle around the twins. Andrew felt his heart rate pick up, years of training automatically triggering his body's response to a threat. He counted quickly, 6 of them, all bigger than him, though size had never mattered much in Taekwondo. "The way I see it," Tyler said, stepping closer, "you two have been getting too comfortable at our school. Walking around like you belong here, getting teachers to like you, making friends with people like Lily." "We have every right to be here," Amara said, her voice steady despite the dangerous situation. Tyler's face hardened. "See, that's where you're wrong. This is our town. Our school." He looked at his friends. "I think it's time we teach them about knowing their place." Ando felt a cold resolve settle over him. They'd tried reporting the harassment. They'd tried avoiding confrontation. They'd followed all the rules their parents and teachers had set. And now they were cornered in an empty parking lot. "Last chance to walk away," Andrew said quietly. Tyler laughed. "Or what? You think you're going to take on all of us?" He stepped forward and shoved Andrew hard, sending him stumbling back against a parked car. Something shifted in the air between them. Amara moved to her brother's side, both of them straightening their postures almost imperceptibly. Years of training had taught them to center themselves in moments of chaos. "Don't do this," Amara warned, her tone different now, calmer, more confident. Tyler mistook their composure for fear. "Too late for warnings," he said, nodding to his friends. "Hold the girl. I want her to watch what happens to her brother first." As one of the boys reached for Amara's arm, Andrew felt time slow down the way it always did during tournaments. His mind cleared, focusing only on what needed to be done. Tyler swung his fist in a wide arc toward Andrew's face, a sloppy, telegraphed punch that Andrew could have dodged in his sleep. Instead of ducking away, Andrew's hand shot up, catching Tyler's wrist in midair with a precision that shocked everyone in the circle, everyone except Amara. "What that?" Tyler began, confusion replacing the sneer on his face. And in that moment, the twins knew there was no going back. The time for walking away had passed. The parking lot fell silent. Tyler stared at his captured wrist, then at Andrew's calm face, confusion replacing his earlier confidence. The other boys shifted uneasily, sensing something had changed. "Let go of me," Tyler growled, trying to pull his arm free. Andrew released his grip and stepped back, his stance shifting slightly, feet shoulder-width apart, weight balanced, hands relaxed but ready. Beside him, Amara mirrored his position, her eyes alert and focused. "We don't want to fight," Andrew said quietly. "Just let us go home." One of Tyler's friends, the linebacker, laughed nervously. "What's this? Some kind of kung fu movie pose?" "It's Taekwondo," Amara corrected, her voice steady. "And this is your last warning." Tyler's face flushed red with anger and embarrassment. "Get them," he ordered, lunging forward again. What happened next left everyone stunned. As Tyler threw another punch, Andra simply wasn't there anymore. He had sidestepped with such fluid speed that Tyler stumbled forward, hitting nothing but air. Before he could recover, Andra had caught his arm and used Tyler's own momentum to send him sprawling onto the pavement. Simultaneously, two boys rushed at Amara. She ducked under the first boy's grab, pivoted gracefully, and swept his legs from under him with a low kick that looked almost casual. The second boy managed to grab her jacket, but she twisted in a way that broke his grip and left him off balance. "What the?" one of the remaining boys gasped. The twins moved with practiced precision, neither throwing a single punch, simply redirecting attacks and using their opponent's weight and momentum against them. When the linebacker charged at Andra like a football tackle, Andra stepped aside at the last possible moment and guided the larger boy's shoulder, sending him crashing into a trash can. Within moments, all 6 boys were on the ground, dazed and confused. None were seriously hurt, just bruised egos and scrapes from falling on the pavement. Tyler pushed himself up, staring at the twins with a mixture of shock and fear. "How did you?" 8 years of training, Andra said, pulling out his phone. "And now I'm calling the police." "Wait," Tyler said quickly, scrambling to his feet. "You can't." "Can't what?" Amara asked, her phone already recording. "Can't report that you and your friends ambushed us." "That you threatened us?" "That we'd have witnesses, school security cameras, and now video evidence." The other boys looked at each other nervously, the reality of their situation sinking in. "You're nothing but trouble," Tyler spat, but the tremor in his voice betrayed his fear. Andra shook his head. "No, this ends now. We tried to avoid this. We reported the harassment to Principal Wilson. We walked away every time you pushed us. But you crossed the line tonight." The sound of a car approaching made everyone turn. The school security guard's vehicle pulled into the lot, headlights sweeping across the scene. "Everything okay here?" the guard called, stepping out of his car with a flashlight in hand. "No, sir," Amara replied calmly. "These boys surrounded us and tried to attack us. We'd like to file a report." While the security guard radioed for backup, Tyler made one last desperate attempt. "They attacked us. 6 against 2. Does that make sense to you? They must have jumped us." The guard looked skeptically at the scene. 6 larger boys, some still sitting on the ground, facing the twins who stood composed and unruffled. "We have it on video," Andrew said, holding up his phone. "And there are security cameras." He pointed to the corner of the school building where a camera was mounted. The fight seemed to drain out of Tyler as he realized there was no way out. "They're like ninjas or something," one of the other boys muttered, still trying to process what had happened. "Not ninjas," Amara corrected him with a small smile. "Black belts." As flashing lights appeared in the distance, the police responding to the security guard's call, Andrew turned to his sister. The twins exchanged a glance that contained a world of understanding. They had not wanted this confrontation, had done everything to avoid it. But now that it had happened, they felt a strange sense of relief. "Mom and Dad are going to freak out," Andrew whispered. Amara nodded. "But I think Master Chen might be proud." The principal's office felt smaller than usual with so many people packed inside. Andra and Amara sat beside their parents, facing Principal Wilson across his desk. Against the wall stood 2 police officers, their expressions professionally neutral. On the other side of the room, Tyler and 2 of his friends sat with their own parents, no one making eye contact with the twins. "I've reviewed the security footage," Principal Wilson said, breaking the tense silence. His tone was different today, less dismissive, more concerned. Along with the video from Amara's phone and statements from all parties involved. Andrew's father, Dr. Thomas Jackson, sat straight-backed in his chair. A respected professor at the university, he commanded attention without raising his voice. "And what have you concluded from this evidence, Principal Wilson?" The principal cleared his throat. "It's clear that Tyler and his friends initiated the confrontation. They blocked the exit and made threatening moves first." Tyler's father, a man in an expensive suit with a red face, jumped in. "That may be, but the response was completely excessive. Look at my son's face." Tyler had a small bruise on his cheek from hitting the pavement. "Mr. Harrington," one of the police officers said calmly, "the footage shows your son attempted to punch Amber first." The twins only used defensive maneuvers. They didn't throw a single punch. Mrs. Jackson, who had been quietly fuming since arriving, finally spoke. My children reported the harassment weeks ago, and nothing was done. Now they were cornered by 6 boys in a dark parking lot. What exactly did you expect them to do? Principal Wilson looked uncomfortable. Mrs. Jackson, I assure you, had I understood the severity. You didn't want to understand, she cut him off. These boys have been targeting my children since they arrived, and it was easier to ignore it than address the racism in your school. The word hung in the air like a thunderclap. No one had said it out loud until now. Now wait just a minute, Tyler's father began, his face growing redder. No one said anything about, it's on the video, Dad, Tyler muttered, staring at the floor. The things we said, we can't deny it. A surprised silence fell over the room. Even Tyler's father seemed taken aback by his son's admission. The principal looked from face to face, then sighed heavily. In light of the evidence, Tyler and the other students involved will face a 2-week suspension with community service requirements before returning. We have a zero-tolerance policy for violence and harassment. That's it? Dr. Jackson asked, his deep voice controlled but filled with disappointment. My children were targeted because of their race, threatened, surrounded by 6 boys, and all you offer is a 2-week vacation. One of the police officers stepped forward. Sir, the parents of each student have the right to press charges. The evidence would support claims of assault, harassment, and possibly hate crime charges. The room grew tense again as everyone absorbed this information. After a long moment, Amara spoke for the first time since entering the office. We don't want to press charges. All eyes turned to her in surprise. What these boys did was wrong, she continued, her voice steady and clear. But ruining their lives won't fix anything. I think they learned something last night about making assumptions about people. Andrew nodded in agreement. But the school needs to do more than just suspend them. This isn't just about us. It's about making sure this doesn't happen to anyone else. Principal Wilson looked relieved but cautious. What do you suggest? Mandatory cultural sensitivity training, Mrs. Jackson said firmly. Not just for these boys, but for all students and faculty. And a clear anti-harassment policy with actual consequences. And we want to start a self-defense club, Andrew added. Open to everyone. We've already talked to Master Chen at our dojang, and he's willing to help. The principal seemed surprised by the constructive suggestions. That could be arranged. As the meeting continued, the tension in the room gradually eased. Even Tyler, still avoiding eye contact with the twins, seemed to be listening. Outside in the hallway afterward, Lily was waiting with a small group of students. When they spotted the twins, they rushed over. Is it true? A boy from their math class asked excitedly. You guys took down Tyler and 5 others using martial arts. Amber felt uncomfortable with the attention. We just defended ourselves. The whole school's talking about it, Lily said. Someone posted a blurry video from across the parking lot. You two are like heroes now. Amara and Andra exchanged a glance. This wasn't what they had wanted or expected. They hadn't asked to become symbols or stories that spread through the school. They had just wanted to be left alone. We're not heroes, Amara said quietly. We just stood up for ourselves. 3 months later, the school gym buzzed with energy as students of all grades gathered on blue mats spread across the floor. At the center stood Andra and Amara, now in their official taekwondo uniforms with black belts tied neatly around their waists. Remember, Andra called out to the group of 30 students, self-defense isn't about hurting others. It's about protecting yourself while causing the least harm possible. Amara demonstrated a simple blocking technique, moving with practiced grace. The best victory is when you can walk away safely without anyone getting hurt. The twins' self-defense club had started small, just a handful of curious students showing up for the first session, but word spread quickly, and now they had to create 2 separate groups to accommodate everyone interested. Lily, now serving as the club's secretary, sat cross-legged at the edge of the mat, taking attendance. We've got 5 new people today, she told Amara during a water break. Master Chen, who volunteered his time twice a month to help with the club, nodded approvingly as he watched the students practice. The school had officially partnered with his dojang, even offering physical education credit for students who participated regularly. "You two have created something special here," he told the twins. "This is the true spirit of martial arts, building community, not division." As the session ended and students began to disperse, Andrew noticed a familiar figure hovering by the gym entrance. Tyler stood awkwardly, watching but not approaching. His 2-week suspension had ended long ago, but he returned to school quieter, keeping mostly to himself. The cultural sensitivity training that Principal Wilson had implemented was already in its second round, with Tyler among the first participants. Andrew nudged his sister and nodded toward the door. With a shared look of understanding, they walked over to him. "Hey," Andrew said simply. Tyler shifted his weight, clearly uncomfortable. "That move you showed today, the one where you redirect someone grabbing your wrist, it looked useful." "It is," Amara replied. "It works no matter how strong the other person is." An awkward silence stretched between them before Tyler finally spoke again. "Look, I've been wanting to say something for weeks now, but," he took a deep breath, "I'm sorry. For everything. What I did, what I said, it was wrong." The apology hung in the air, simple but sincere. Andrew studied Tyler's face, seeing something he hadn't noticed before, not just regret, but genuine change. "Thanks for saying that." "The club is open to everyone," Amara added. "If you're interested." Tyler looked surprised by the offer. "You let me join? After everything?" "That's the whole point," Andrew explained. "Learning to respect each other. Finding common ground." "Maybe," Tyler said, a hint of a smile appearing. "I'll think about it." As he walked away, Lily approached, eyebrows raised. "Seriously? You're going to teach him how to fight better?" Amara laughed. "We're going to teach him how not to fight." "There's a difference." Their parents were waiting in the parking lot, proud smiles on their faces as they watched students filing out of the gym, chatting excitedly about what they'd learned. "Look at what you two have started," their mother said, pulling them both into a hug. Their father nodded toward a group of parents deep in conversation, a mix of races and backgrounds that would have been uncommon at Oak Ridge High just months ago. It's not just the kids who are learning. That evening, the local newspaper reporter who had been covering the school's transformation interviewed the twins for a feature story. "Did you ever imagine your self-defense club would have this kind of impact?" she asked. Andrew thought about that night in the parking lot, how close they had come to simply fighting back in anger, how differently things might have turned out. "No," he answered honestly. "We just wanted to be accepted for who we are." "And now?" the reporter pressed. Amara looked around at their new community, at Lily organizing permission slips, at Master Chen demonstrating a technique to curious parents, at the principal chatting with students from all backgrounds, and even at Tyler, lingering on the edges but still present, still trying. "Now we're building something better," she said. "Something that's not about fighting or defending or proving ourselves. Something that's about bringing people together," Andrew finished. As they headed home that evening, walking the same route where they had once faced threats and harassment, the twins realized how much had changed, not just in their school or community, but in themselves. They had come to Oak Ridge as outsiders, forced to defend their right to belong. Now they walked as leaders, as builders of bridges that would last long after they graduated. Their martial arts skills had given them the confidence to stand up for themselves, but it was their character that had truly transformed Oak Ridge.